be. Good morning and thank you so much. In case you've just joined, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra. I'm Robert Kirabo, Nyonyintono. Thank you for making us a TV of your choice. And of course, we keep on ensuring that we bring you information that you need to know. Not what you want, but what you need. Because human beings, there's so much that we want, but we may not need, so we bring what you need to know. And in Good Morning Uganda Extra this morning, an extension of Good Morning Uganda, I come to you with what you need to know. And I'm going to be discussing issues of health, more so cancer. Now, when we talk about cancer, it is a disease that many people have survived. Many people have lost loved ones. Many people are battling with the disease, and many are very aware about it in Uganda. Every day, new cases, sometimes new forms of cancer that we didn't have in Uganda today are coming up. But there is good news also, that a certain type of cancer can be vaccinated. And today we are going to be discussing about the human papillomavirus vaccination. While government of Uganda ensured that girls 10 years at least can go for this vaccination. And because of the challenges COVID brought in, we had a lapse there. Now you may find 14 downwards, 10, 14, you get this vaccination. It is what we are here to make sure we drum the drum louder as we can, so that it gets to every corner of this country that we save our girls. Human papillomavirus that causes cervical cancer. And joining me on set to discuss this, I have two ladies that have done a tremendous job. One does encouragement because she's a survivor of breast cancer, and the other happens to be the CEO of Uganda Women's Cancer Support Organization. I have Gertrude Nachigude, who is the CEO of this organization. Happy to have you this morning.
I'm happy to be here. Good morning, Uganda. As introduced, my name is Gertrude Nachigude. I'm also a breast cancer survivor for 21 years.
Oh!
Yes.
Praise the name of the Lord.
Amen.
Then on the extreme end, I have Akelo Caroline. She is a member of this organization, but also a breast cancer survivor. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, and thank you for inviting us and having us here today.
Now, to begin with, Nachigude, when we talk about cancer, to an ordinary person, help us understand in simple terms what we are referring to. What kind of disease is this? I know there are various forms of cancer. Some are still even under laboratory to understand what form is it, but at least as definition.
First of all, cancer is named according to where it has developed. If it's the breast, cancer of the breast. If it goes to the cervix, cancer of the cervix, and any other part of the body. But cancer develops when the cells become abnormal. We know our bodies are built on cells as you build a house, and there is a certain way they are put together. But when they are interrupted with the cancer, they become abnormal. And that abnormality is what becomes cancer. Yeah.
Just abnormal growth of the cells, of the body cells.
Growth of the body cells, being caused by various reasons, as we shall see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, when we talk about your organization, having understood what cancer is, what do you do?
Uganda Women's Cancer Support Organization was formed by women who survived breast but also other forms of cancer, coming together to support and counsel those who are going through cancer treatment, but also educate the population and the nation about the risk factors, about the benefits of early screening, about the benefit of early treatment, and to give hope that you can actually survive cancer. because it's an organization of survivors. We are a network of survivors across the country. About 200 survivors subscribe to this organization. Yeah.
Now this takes me to Akelo. When you talk about survivors, I know there's someone watching us this morning that could be having a cancer of any sort, because like you said, we have breast cancer, we have cervical cancer, we have lung cancer, there is leukemia, and of course for the men, now what is very common, prostate cancer.
Yes.
But most of the times people think that when you have cancer, it is a death sentence. Just briefly, take us through your experience. You're a survivor, it's done and dusted, but what do you have to tell these people? Those that are beginning treatment of whatever type, those that have today gotten diagnosed and it's like, you have a cancer. As a survivor, please, a message.
Yeah, what I can say is, first and foremost, to every Ugandan out there, is that cancer is not a death sentence. In Uganda, we have the Uganda Cancer Institute, where they provide comprehensive cancer treatment. And with early diagnosis, cancer can be treated and cured. But also, if the diagnosis is late, it can be controlled and managed for either prolonging of life or sometimes even cure. So when I talk about early detection, I'm talking about getting to know that you have the disease when it's still on stage 1 and 2. There are very, very high chances of getting a cure. Majority of people in that stage are cured. But stage 3 and 4, stage 3 is really difficult to treat, and 4 is also very difficult to treat. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that you are going to die. It can, when you receive treatment comprehensively, it means you can either survive or your life can be prolonged more than you would have lived without the treatment. So me as a person, I was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer, and because of that, currently I'm living with metastatic disease. That means that the cancer has moved to other parts of the body. It first started from the breast, it went to the spine, and then later to the lungs. And all through have been undergoing treatment. Even as we speak, I'm still receiving bone therapy and hormonal treatment. But as you look at me, nobody can even believe that I'm sick. And that is because I've been diligently taking my treatment. And as she said, the Uganda Women's Support Organization is an organization that supports women and any other person who needs support as they go through this journey. And I will tell you, from the day I was diagnosed, Gertrude was with me, and up to today, they have not let my hand go. And you may think it's a simple thing, but you need somebody who understands the journey to help you go through this journey. If I came to you, you may not understand, because cancer treatment is very difficult. It's not a treatment that you receive and leave and go to work and everything is okay. It comes with a lot of side effects, and if you do not have somebody to help you go through this journey, it can really be hard. Yeah.
Well, I feel the great work that this organization is doing, supporting, encouraging, and of course, in case you're there, you're not alone. There's someone there for you. There's a group of people that is there for you to see you through this journey of healing, recovering, or life longevity, because the treatment can help you prolong life. So it's not a death sentence. It's all about you getting treatment and, importantly, being diagnosed early. Now today we at HPV vaccination, which is something that government of Uganda really invested in to see that we get to this. Now, the human papilloma virus vaccine, when I come to you, Nachigude, take us through. Today we want to make sure that many Ugandans, many children, many girls, age 10, as much as we can, get vaccinated. But what is this all about to someone who has never heard of it, or someone who has heard of it but very hesitant?
Thank you very much, Kirabo, for the opportunity. HPV vaccination was launched by government of Uganda in 2015, countrywide. And the vaccines were availed to all government health facilities. And in 2019, it was integrated into routine immunization in all health facilities. And because this was not a baby's vaccine, many parents were hesitant to take their 10-year-old girls. So as an organization, we have seen many women coming with the cervical cancer in late stage. And then they have not heard about the vaccine. So we are joining the rest of the world this month to increase awareness about the importance of the vaccination, but also the benefits that it reduces up to 75% or more of the chances of a woman developing cancer of the cervix in the future. This vaccine was launched for the 10-year-old girls, but because of COVID interruptions, I think many health services came to a standstill. Many girls missed out because the program was in schools and also in health facilities. So since the schools were closed for 2 years, girls never got the vaccination. So there were missed opportunities. So this year, this month, we are encouraging and urging parents that if you have any girl, even if they are 17, even if they are 18, take them to a health worker. Then the assessment will be done whether they are suitable or not. But the 10-year-old girls are all eligible for the vaccine, and it's given 2 doses. They are given 6 months apart. If a child got the first dose in January, in June they'll be due for their second dose. The challenge has been that some of the girls have got the first dose and never go for the second dose, especially when they get the first dose when they are in school and the 6 months come when they are at home. So still, you can still take these girls to ensure that they have the second dose. Because for full protection, the girl has to have 2 doses, not 1 dose. Yeah.
Okay, you wanted to supplement?
Yes, I wanted to add that to many parents, they might be afraid that maybe this vaccine, okay, there are myths that surround vaccination, more especially the HPV vaccination. Many believe that this vaccine brings infertility. And they are asking why the government is particularly saying we should vaccinate 10-year-olds. But what I would like to say is that we are vaccinating only 10-year-olds, but because as Uganda, as a Ministry of Health, they cannot afford vaccine for everyone. But actually the HPV vaccine can be given to anybody, even the males. In the outside countries, I mean the Western world, they're vaccinating men and women, and at every age. When you want to go, they do a screening, they make sure you don't have the virus in your system and you're vaccinated. So this 10-year-olds being targeted is because we believe that if they receive it now, we are protecting at least this particular generation of 10-year-olds from the risk of getting cervical cancer in the future. In future, if there are chances of getting more vaccines for everyone, then definitely that will be done for everyone.
Oh, but there is also something I heard, that this vaccine is more relevant or more effective when it's given to girls who have not started engaging in sexual intercourse. How true is that?
Yes, it is true, because it is more beneficial when the person is not yet exposed to the virus. Like any other disease, if you are vaccinating, you need to ensure that this person has not had an exposure of the disease, and the exposure is the virus. So if these girls are already exposed, that is, if they've had already a sexual intercourse, that means there is exposure. So the benefit will be low. So that's why they encourage those who have not had an intercourse. And that's why we think the 10-year-old girl have not had an intercourse, but we know what happens. But we know that age bracket,
at least that age,
at least that
if
age
all
bracket,
is normal,
if all is normal, that would be the right age. Yes.
Well, we are still discussing and drumming the sound for ensuring that we take girls 10 years for HPV vaccine so that we reduce chances of cervical cancer in our country. But this also brings me to, how is the human papillomavirus transmitted? Because you know it's the virus that causes, but how is it transmitted? I've heard researchers speak and say, and this sometimes confuses me, that well, now we have such a cancer in the mouth or throat. Some talk about annual. I'm like, but I thought, what is going wrong? If I may ask, has it transmitted? And how come we see the same virus that maybe one would think it could be now in mouth, throat, extra?
HPV virus moves within fluids. And where the fluids are put is where the virus takes comfort. Yeah, because we know the normal route is the sexual intercourse within. That's why we talk about cancer of the cervix. But because of the diversions, wherever we've had an intercourse, where the virus is, and we are seeing a lot of increasing numbers of cancers of the anal, the anus, which is called anal cancer. I think it has been published. You can Google and go to some of it. Is already published. We are we're having increasing numbers of anal cancers.
So that results from oral sex?
That is result also cancer of the throat, and then the jaw, and the mouth and the tongue, and those oral cancers are because of the HPV virus. So, and the esophagus. So you're right to say that it's not a rumor. It has been researched and published that this virus causes more than 5 cancers. And if we have a vaccine, then we can prevent quite a number of cancers. Yeah, but also we need to change behavior. Yeah,
indeed.
It's very important.
These abnormal ways of doing things is something we should really desist from as Ugandans, as Africans, and also as children of God. Let's be very honest. These are some of the things, because we've seen the danger that they are bringing to us. Now, when we talk about this vaccination, Kelo, how available is it?
Actually, the vaccine is available in all public hospitals or government hospitals. In all immunization centers, you find the vaccine. All we need to do is to go and ask for it. Yeah, so the vaccines are there. And that's why this month, last month plus this, this extended period has been given to promote and to advocate for the vaccination of the 10-year-olds or for HPV vaccination, because the vaccines are there. Otherwise, we wouldn't be talking about it.
Okay, there and free of charge?
Yes, free of charge.
Also, in addition to that, when we talk about vaccines being available, but are there any things like side effects? Well, we've just come out of COVID-19, we can say, but we had all sorts of stories regarding vaccines. And this made Ugandans forget that many of them had so many vaccines even before COVID-19. Because when I look at, I don't know when you people were born, but one thing I know, there's a generation that has been vaccinated left, center, and central. And we are here, and we are normal. These vaccinations from 1986, 87, vaccines have been vaccines. Polio, tetanus, measles, the number about 6 or 7 that you are mandated to go through as a child. Now, when we grow, we have a vaccine and we are like, we don't want vaccination. So what has been the perception? What are the side effects? We talk about, are there side effects?
I think like any other vaccine, you'll get a little fever, but the biggest side effect is anxiety. Yeah, many people get so anxious. Why the 10-year-old? This is going to happen. But naturally, there is a little fever, I've not had, I'm not a medical doctor
Yeah.
to test, but at least I've been an advocate for the last 20 years, and I've seen many girls getting vaccinated, and I've not seen any serious side effect, because the parents report to us at least a fever or 1 or 2 days, like a baby getting a polio vaccine, and they cry overnight, and then the following day they are fine. Yes.
Wow, still ensuring that we step up this. But also, like you said, you work within the communities. Let's look at also levels of awareness. I've been in the media for some time, and I know sensitization and creating awareness creates people to receive you better. So when you talk about HPV vaccine, you're from the civil society, NGO,
Yeah.
but to what extent have we sent this message? As government, do we think people have this information? For most of these vaccines, I see a campaign. Even when you're going to have polio, recently, what was it? Mrs. Robera, something like that.
Yes, Robert.
And there's publicity for this.
Yeah.
You know, people still would ask, now what is this? Some would call Rubera, Bobera, whatever, but what is this? The ministry ran adverts here and there. But since 2015, what have we done as far as, if you are to try and weigh and gauge, popularizing this very important? And I'll begin with Akelo here.
Thank you. I would say, honestly speaking, when it comes to information and knowledge about generally cancer, it's very, very minimal. Majority of people do not have the correct information about cancer, and it's the same when it comes even to the HPV vaccination. The information that people have there is not enough, and truly speaking, more needs to be done, and that's why we are here today, because we are taking that path. Every journey begins with one step. And from 2015, this is what we have been doing. And you know, when COVID came, all the attention went to COVID. It's not just the HPV vaccine that has suffered because of COVID. A number of sectors, a number of other areas have been neglected, and attention being given to COVID in terms of resources as well. But now that, as you can hear, that a whole 30 days was dedicated to creating awareness about vaccines and the intake of vaccines, including the HPV vaccine. Yes, I believe that we are taking up a step further. Remember, we are also recovering from the COVID. Yes, that took us backward, and now we are starting to go back to the normal, and then we can go further forward. So more really needs to be done, and we thank people like UBC that are giving us a platform to talk about these things. Yeah, somehow we shall get there.
Well, we shall get there as far as ensuring this message sinks, and this is what Akelo and Nachigude are here to do, to ensure that many Ugandans get to know of the fact that there is the HPV vaccine, and it is present in Uganda. It is free of charge. Girls age 10, please, if you're a parent there, if you're a guardian, if you're a relative, children are back for holidays. If you're watching us this morning and you're 10 years, please ask daddy, ask mommy, am I vaccinated? The HPV, the human papilloma virus, save my future. Secure my future. My health is my #1 priority. Let me get vaccinated. I'll go for a break, and when we return, we'll be discussing more regarding the HPV vaccination in Uganda. We return shortly.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra. The Tales of Kasozi, brought to you by Uganda Communications Commission.
Hello? Hello? This is Kasozi. How can I help you?
Hey,
Kasos, my brother. Long time. We last met when we were at campus. It's been a while, but you are the person I'm looking for.
Campus? Really?
Hey! You don't remember me?
Okay, so how can I help you?
I'm stuck in Gulu making millions, and I need to urgently send money to my sick mother. But I can't find any mobile money agent near me. I've sent the money to your phone, as you can see the message. It might take a few minutes to come through, but I urgently need you to send the money to my mother. Let me send you her number, and you send it to her chap.
My friend, I'm afraid your mom is going to die.
What?
Because I don't know you, I never went to campus, and I'm also in Gulu. So can we meet at CPS, we talk about it?
Stay tuned for what Kasozi does next.
Tofera. Refrain from unnecessary engagement with strangers over the phone. This message is powered by the Uganda Communications Commission.
Iwakato, this is a quick call. I'm almost out of minutes. Now, the center.
Why rush through such important conversations? Airtel Uganda has made it possible for you to call across all networks in Uganda at the best rates with the new Bona voice bundles. Stay connected anytime, anywhere, with minutes valid for calls on all networks. Dial *100*1#. Select voice bundles and select Bona voice bundles today. Airtel, the smartphone network. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
It is Good Morning Uganda Extra on UBC TV. We are here every weekday, and what we do is to ensure that we bring you what you need to know as a Ugandan. Today we are looking at issues of health. Remember, this show begins all the way at 6:30 with Good Morning Uganda, and this is an extension of Good Morning Uganda. So make it a date with us every weekday. You can't afford to miss the mighty four. There's so much that starts your morning. Some laughter, some jokes, some humor, and of course relevant information, both locally and internationally. We kickstart your day with information that will empower you to fit in any discussion. You're aware of what is trending, what is happening. This is the best show, so make it a date with us. Well, we're still looking at the HPV vaccination that is available in Uganda and free of charge for girls ages to 10. If you're 10 years old, and because of COVID-19, now they look at 10 to 14 years, at least go and get this vaccination. But this brings me to ask, we've talked about this age, we talk about a generation, know that if all girls in Uganda 10 for this period, then we shall know they are vaccinated and they are safe. But what happens to those that missed this vaccination, and by policy it is for 10 years? What do they do? What should they do? That's a good day.
We know there is early marriages in Uganda at about 17. Most of the girls in the community are married. And by public policy in Uganda, screening starts at 25 years. So we are also advocating that we need to reduce the age, because we've seen a lot of girls 20 years who have already died of cervical cancer, but public policy says 25 years and above, women should go for routine screening. But the policy is flexible. If you're a woman and you are sexually active at whatever age, you should go to a health facility and have your cervix screened. The screening is also free. Wherever there is a vaccine, there is a cervical screening for all women who are sexually active. And the screening is simple. You walk in, they look at your cervix, the midwife, and they will tell whether there are changes on your cervix, and if they are, then they will recommend for a further test. But that is the beginning. So all women between 25 and above, but we say if you are sexually active and you are below, you also have an opportunity to go see a health worker, have your cervix screened, and women should be screened every 3 years. Every 3 years. But those who live with HIV should be screened every year. Because if you have HIV and then you get HPV, the progression, they grow very fast. So they help each other to grow, and then before you die of HIV, you die of cancer of the cervix. So that's my message for the women out there who are sexually active, should go and test for the HPV virus.
Okay, then also this brings me, still when you go back to the vaccination itself, Akel, what are some of the benefits of having, because we want our viewers watching us this morning to know that this and this is why I should take this child, the guardians, this is why I should take this child. From just being told, yo, there's this vaccination, it protects against cervical cancer.
Yeah, thank you. Now, first and foremost, I want to emphasize that as Ugandans, we have evidence that these vaccines work. As people right now seated on this panel, I'm sure that most of us were vaccinated as children for different types of diseases, polio and whatever. At the time when I was growing up as a child, there were very many people who had deformities from polio. But as the more vaccine was given, the more the situation got better. And I am very much trusting the fact that if we do vaccinate, it's the same thing that we are doing for our children. They will be protected from the cancer of the cervix. And the reason why we are talking about benefits is people do not know the cost of treating cancer. Medically, socioeconomically, because once someone has cancer, it doesn't just affect that individual. It affects the people around them, family, and even the community. And you heard from Gertrude, we have 20-year-olds presenting with advanced cervical cancer. And since the HPV virus causes even other cancers, it means that a greater population is suffering because of this. So the earlier we prevent, the more we have a productive population, and the more happier the families are. Yeah.
Now, that said, we need to prevent. We urge you, please ensure these young girls get that. But you also deal with supporting persons living with cancer. Yeah. Now, let's also look at that element of supporting. How do you do this? You know, first is cancer treatment available. Most of the times we've heard of people telling you the Cancer Institute, how it's very populated. Others will tell you how the treatment is very expensive. I must confess, I've had a number of our VIPs who have died of cancer, various forms of cancer. No wonder many of them don't die in Uganda. Akelo here was talking about comprehensive treatment, good treatment, but then something ran through my mind. Why, if we have this good treatment, do our VIPs that have died of cancer fly out of this country? Why don't they all go to the same facility? It is on record, many die outside Uganda. Oh, cancer, yet we boast of center of excellence in East Africa being in Uganda.
Yes, I see you're looking at me. Yeah, thank you. I think I also have the same question, but the issue is trust in our own systems. I was treated in Uganda Cancer Institute 21 years ago. I've never walked out of Mulago. I had everything. All the surgeons were in Mulago, the oncologists. Then there were even one oncologist, but I was treated and I'm a survivor. And I mentioned when we were starting our conversation that we have over 200 survivors as members of this organization, and they all are treated in Uganda Cancer Institute. But people don't have a trust. I'll just encourage our VIPs to come and visit. It's a center of excellency now. But also, the issue is late diagnosis. Whether you go to the moon, whether you go to God, when you have advanced cancer, you may not make it. So you can get a cure anywhere. So I think I just want to encourage people who want to invest, even government, to keep investing in what we have and expanding in what we have, but also investing in early diagnosis so that there is a cure for the cancer. Secondly, cancer is very expensive to treat. It's a long journey. It's a psychosocial, it's an economic cost. So the farther you go, the more expensive it becomes and the more distressful it becomes. So as an organization, when somebody is diagnosed, we sit with you and prepare you for this long journey. Most of the time people think cancer is treated like malaria. You have 2 injections and you're done. Kara had just mentioned that she has been on treatment for the last 6 years. If she had gone on a plane, she would be dead because you can't sustain. But we can do that in Uganda Cancer Institute. So some of the VIPs, when they're told you have cancer, they get on a plane. And the sustainability of the care, you need your people to talk to you. You need the people to give you what to eat. It's not about the medicine. It's about the care that one gets throughout the journey. And as an organization, we support patients. We help them make informed decisions. We prepare them of what is going to happen. You are going to be on treatment for the next 5 years. I was on treatment for 5 years in the country, but I could still do my work, still be with my family, do some, the things you enjoy. But if you are out of the country, even emotionally, you cannot make it. Yeah.
Well, very interesting news there at the Cancer Institute, but Akili wanted to add something.
Yes, you were asking if treatment is available. And I am living example of treatment being available in Uganda. And when we talk of comprehensive care, at the Uganda Cancer Institute, you get all the care that you need for cancer, medical care that you need for cancer. Because for breast cancer, we need chemotherapy, surgery, radiotherapy, hormonal therapies, and all these are available at the Uganda Cancer Institute. And chemotherapy at the Uganda Cancer Institute is for free. I have never paid for chemotherapy. And the time when I started, there were times when patients would buy when it was not available. But as we speak right now, it's always available. There is chemotherapy. Radiotherapy is paid for, but it's at a subsidized cost. Imaging services are paid for, but at subsidized cost. There is both private and general treatment. Private treatment, it means you're paying for consultation fees and blood tests. But even the blood tests are subsidized for private patients. For general treatment, consultation is for free. Blood tests are for free. You only pay for imaging services and radiotherapy. An X-ray that is charged 70,000 outside in a private place is 10,000 shillings for a general patient at the Uganda Cancer Institute. An ultrasound is 10,000 shillings for general patient at the Uganda Cancer Institute. A CT scan that could cost you 350,000, you will pay 200,000 for general patients. Private patients will pay 300,000. So this, you can see that as the Uganda Cancer Institute and as Ministry of Health of Uganda, they are trying to make sure that people can access this treatment. But as you also know, it's one center of excellence. It's only at the Uganda Cancer Institute that you can find all this comprehensive care. So that's why the place is populated. And trust me, the lines are there. And cancer is not an illness that you will diagnose by taking a blood sample and then you start treatment the next day. There are a lot of things that you have to do. They have to make sure the cancer is really there. That's a biopsy that may take 1 or 2 weeks. And then they will have to make sure your heart is functioning well and the rest of the body organs before you can be started on treatment. So really, much as there is a population, it's also about what it takes to give somebody care.
Well, that is good news that we have the treatment. Of course, we would recommend for more investment by government to have more of these. Let's have regional centers, because if you're going to have so many people come to the Uganda Cancer Institute, I know there's one in the northern, but I don't know how good it is. At least it's been there for a very long time. cancer treatment, but we still need more to be done. But the good thing is at least we have the center of excellency. The drugs are there. It's a bit of patience, and of course these are patients in one way, and they have one thing I know: if you're patient in Uganda, you have to be patient. Definitely. Though sometimes the disease has to be detected very early and worked on. Well, time is flying. Let me just have a minute or two from you each as I get your concluding remarks, and I'll begin with Gertrude here.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to discuss this important matter. My concluding remarks is to encourage all women out there to go for screening. If you've not had your screening in the last 1 year, go for your cervical screening, but also take your 10-year-old girls for HPV vaccination. But also just want to know, to inform the public that the regional centers are functional. Gulu is going to be fully functional in July. It's going to be opened. Mbarara is functional in the regional hospital in Mbarara with the Mbarara University, and the Arua is also operational. The screening is available, and Mbale is going to be also opened very soon. So it's in the government plan. I'm not a spokesperson of government, but at least I'm aware as a patient advocate that those centers are on track. Okay,
Kelo, as we get offset.
Yeah, I would just love to re-emphasize what Gertrude said. For those who are sexually active, early detection saves life, and it's good to screen and make sure that you're healthy, and also to encourage mothers and let them know that the vaccine wouldn't be here if it wasn't safe, and we are not the first to use it. It's being used elsewhere. So please, let's try our best to take these girls so that we can protect them.
Well, thank you so much, Gertrude and Caroline. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for this organization that supports persons living with cancer. Well, we've been discussing that human papilloma virus vaccination that is available in the country and free of charge for girls 10 years. And of course, due to COVID-19, there is now we had government thought it wise that let's look at 10 to 14, because there's a lapse of about 2 years there. Dear parents, guardians, friends, relatives, let's secure the future of these girls. Cancer is so common. Cervical cancer is one of the leading killers of women, yet there is a vaccine for it. Do not deny that young girl a chance to survive cancer of the cervix. Take her for vaccination. Children are back for holidays, and it shouldn't be a single dose. There are 2 doses. So we hope that this message, you will save, you see that girl, that you can have something. It really hurts when you regret, I wish I had vaccinated this. I wish I had taken her for the vaccine. Do it now so that we reduce the cancer burden. We've talked about the Cancer Institute as a center of excellency, but if it is more conscious, even the regional that you've talked about, if the burden is so high, then challenges come. Have a lovely day. See you tomorrow. God bless you.